What's up guys, the GoPro Hero6 has just been released. Believe it or not, this thing shares a lot of similarities with Apple's new iPhone 8 Plus. In fact, directly competing with its camera capabilities. It can do 4K 60 frames per second now and 1080p 240 frames per second slow motion. So for a $500 action camera, I wanted to see how does this camera quality compare to Apple's latest iPhone 8 Plus, which I think is way ahead of its time with the camera technology behind it. It only possible with the A11 Bionic chip inside. So let's go ahead and do a head-to-head camera comparison with something I usually don't compare it to, but for a $500 camera that touts the same capabilities as the iPhone, I have to. Anyways, I wanted to open this up real quick. I've had GoPros since the 2, it's been a very long time that I've been with this company. So for them to release something like this that matches the iPhone for a huge price tag, that's a bit crazy. Alright, so there's that, and I believe this shares the very same form factor with the GoPro Hero 5. Honestly, it's what that camera should have been, 4K 60 to begin with. I think they just dragged their feet just to make more sales, of course. But anyways, yeah, looks extremely similar. It's got the very same build on the outside here. Now, obviously, there are conveniences that this one has that the iPhone doesn't. I mean, it's water resistant, 33 feet, waterproof. It's got a little tiny display on the back, but capability-wise, it's the very same one as the iPhone. So taking a look at the sensors, the actual sensor might actually be very similar in size to the iPhones. I'm gonna need to get some specs on that. This is $500, but this has the very same capability. So let's go ahead and update this guy, set it up, and get to testing. And those actually with a GoPro Hero 5, just wanted to show you the differences. Physically, it is a little bit smaller. I was surprised to find. I didn't think they would actually change something like that. The camera sensor size, or the lens itself, is exactly the same size, but the overall form factor is a little bit smaller. Screen size appears to be the same. Lettering here is a little bit brighter, more visible, smaller LED over here. So there are some little differences between the two, which I was a little surprised to find. Alrighty, so this is 4K 60 frames per second. And believe me, I know one of these is an action camera, so these are gonna be much different as much as they are the same in the capabilities. So, just a forested area here. Let's go from light to dark. Look at that bleeding. Now, the GoPro's quite unresponsive when actually moving. It stutters a little bit. It's very interesting to see. I guess it can't really keep up on that little tiny display. The iPhone, oh my goodness, this thing is so fluid. I love it. All right, so we are on their respective gimbals. We got the Karma grip for the GoPro, and for the iPhone, we got DJI Osmo Mobile. Awesome grips in general, both of them. So just gonna give us a rough little idea on the quality. Nice little wooded area here. So let's check this out. Beautiful. And wow, I would hate to give an early estimate, but from the little display I can see on the GoPro, it doesn't look as awesome as the iPhone. Of course, it is much more cropped. You have to do a lot more panning on the iPhone to get the same scene. Definitely get more in your field of view with the GoPro. So getting some light bleeding on the GoPro that I'm not on the iPhone. In the trees, very interesting. But otherwise, pretty good. So this isn't really a test of stabilization, just quality between the two. And got a little moat going here. Pretty cool all around though. Autumn is starting to kick in. We got leaves everywhere. And audio on the GoPro never has been a strong suit, that's for sure. But it has gotten better since the 5. That is awesome. I'm in love with 4K 60. I'm glad everybody is onto this trend. It's seriously awesome. Alright, so there's that. Looks pretty good. Here's some a little bit brighter quality in the trees. GoPro mount really doesn't like to move the gimbal. Well, it doesn't really need to because it has such a wide field of view. All right, so beautiful. Quality looks good on both. Let's get some closer detail on some stuff. And just some up close shots. Obviously you don't get the bokeh that you would get on the iPhone with the GoPro, no matter how close you get. It just doesn't want to have it. It's definitely not an up close and personal type of camera. Doesn't have any macro capabilities, no great focus like the iPhone. And this is some low light, so underneath of the house, darkest I can get right now. Show you guys the detail. Honestly, pretty good on both. Make out a lot of the light and darker quality items here. So not bad on both. And just for some slow-mo. And for the photos, both are pretty good. The colors are a little bit more accurate on the iPhone, I would say, and it handles the light bleeding through the trees a little bit better. So there it is, guys. What do you think of this comparison? A GoPro action camera compared to the iPhone 8 Plus. Both can do the very same thing, but they do it very differently. As a summary, I'd like to say the GoPro has some great quality, but it's not what you would expect for a dedicated $500 camera. I mean, the quality on the iPhone, to me, was better. So minus the action camera part and waterproofing, the iPhone 8 Plus does the same video recording capability better than a dedicated $500 action camera. Hope you guys enjoyed this little review, not something typical, but still was great to see. Peace.